It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts, Tim
and LJ. Today and every week we will be discussing musicals, but specifically what they taught us.
This week we are sponsored by how many YouTube videos? How many documentaries? This podcast is sponsored by YouTube documentaries.
Are you trying to say that I watch an awful lot of documentaries?
Not at all. Listen, I don't know how many hours you're a busy girl. I have no idea how you have the time. Do you sit up late at night and watch loads into the small hours in the morning?
Yes.
You would have to, because that's the only time you'd have time to watch these things.
And also, because I have a hearing problem and I can't hear things an awful lot, I watch everything with subtitles, so I think that's how I get through them much quicker. So I don't have to be watching it with sound. I can lie in bed and read.
Just read it. So
read captions. I do think
this is even more blowing my mind. So you watch all these YouTube documentaries on silent and you just read them like a book? Wow. Okay.
But then, I can do it whenever I'm in bed.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how I just get through stuff.
Well, and I went away the last time and I was like, how the hell does she have time to watch all these things? Especially you had said one of them was 4 hours long, but it felt like 20 minutes. It's like, where does she get her 4 hours to watch these things?
Maybe I'm just not as busy as you are. Maybe that's the problem.
How do you... No, you... Listen, you're as busy as... Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, no, I do. Captions are... It really annoys me whenever I go to watch a YouTube video or TikTok video or something like that and they don't put captions on. Then I'm I can't understand this.
Things are getting more accessible though, aren't they, now?
Yeah, it is. But anyway, funny, even last night, I was like, you sleep? I was like, no, watching a documentary.
I knew it! See? So, folks, let's find out what this week's documentary, what documentary's sponsoring us this week.
Well, there actually was a few.
I thought there might be coming, because actually for this one, I also had watched a film documentary for the show we're going to be talking about this week, and it's quite sad because I watched it years and years ago and adored it, and now I can't find it anywhere on any platform
apart from wee snippets here and there.
Exactly, and wee snippets aren't cutting it for me anymore because I literally watched it from start to finish and absorbed it all. It was class, which we'll maybe get onto later. But I was she'll be so proud of me, the fact that I've actually watched a docu-film.
Go
at some point. For one episode that we're watching. It's not like me to go, yes, I've actually watched a documentary, YouTube video. We talk, you talk, we all talk together.
I just love listening to other people and their opinions as well.
That's why you love doing this podcast with me, isn't it? Just love listening to me talking crap.
Oh gosh. Here.
Good? All good? Excellent.
All good. We're ending another month and getting into spring season, I feel, which brings about a load of theatre news. Do you not feel that?
Oh, the barnyard. You're just saying spring. I'm going, there is definitely a musical theatre song about spring. Yeah. 7 Brides for $7, isn't it? Spring, 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 oh, the barnyard. I was in that once upon a time.
Springtime.
For Hitler, that's a great one.
Yeah.
And I've done it, producers. I remember 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. I was cast as a suitor because I came into it late. So they cast the brothers. They didn't have enough men, so they got in extras. And I have to say... I enjoyed the show and I enjoyed being a suitor. It was great fun, but I did look at the brothers with disdain going, I want to be one of them.
Oh, because you
suitor didn't cut it for me. Do you know what I mean? But sure, hey ho, should have been involved earlier, right?
Should have. Maybe a wee life lesson there.
Nah, it's fine. Not that big of a life lesson. Loads of theatre news. Mm-hmm. I've got 2 pieces of theatre news for you today.
Oh. Oh, you're spoiling us.
The first one is Boy George has gone into Moulin Rouge in Broadway.
No, have you watched any of the wee vids?
I have.
Yeah.
The jury's out.
Oh, really? See, I think... But then
The jury's out for me.
I haven't seen it. So I haven't seen Moulin Rouge in full. I've only seen snippets. So for me, I was like, oh, that works.
To be fair, one video I saw, he literally looked like a deer in headlights.
Okay.
And then another video I saw, he covered himself better, but I also, that second clip was they have like written into the finale mega mixy kind of number. He sings two of his own songs, like snippets of his own songs. So he sings, "Do you really want to hurt me?" And then he goes into "Comma, comma, comma, comma," which, because the show, although it uses the music from the film, it has updated itself for the stage version and uses some, you know, more up to date, like pop songs or, you know, well-known hits. So it doesn't grate on me as much, do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, no, I can totally see how they could throw that in. And it's nice, and the audience loved it, do you know what I mean? But I just, how do you feel about, like, pop stars, like, making their way into musical theatre?
I know we've had this conversation before, haven't we, a lot? Like stunt casting. I think there's definitely certain roles which it's more accessible. Is that the right word? Or no, it's more accepted.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to have to be like an individual case. You can't just say, no, you shouldn't be allowed to like go into, because I suppose it's the same, like there's Gilded Age. Majority of the people in that come from Broadway. So it's like,
I really need to watch that.
So what, you know, is it okay that Broadway stars go into TV? So is it not okay for singers to go into Broadway?
I think in today's culture and within that industry, it's a lot more accepted than it maybe was at the beginning. I know that there was lots of shocks and gasps when they started to put these stunt castings in to shows, but I think it now happens so often that it's just the done thing, which means I don't really have an opinion of it anymore. I'm a bit like you. It has to be on a, you know, individual basis, because sometimes it works and other times it doesn't work. You know, good for him, like, but don't do the kick line at the end of Moulin Rouge because it's not working for you.
Well, I also think...
Is that fair enough?
As long as it's not taken away from somebody else, and this is my whole thing about casting in general, you know, we have to cast the person that is right for the role, not because they necessarily tick a box.
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely. But I think, like, I'm gonna, the Boy George fans are gonna come for me. There's definitely gonna be better people there to play Harold Ziegler than Boy George. Are you telling me he was, like, better than anybody else that was in the room for that? Nah.
I doubt.
I think producers have picked up the phone and called him and gone, do you fancy doing a wee stint of 6 weeks in...
But this is the thing as well, it's only ever like short, isn't it?
Of course it is! Because what pop stars can do a 8-show week schedule?
I know.
Nobody can.
No. Yeah.
You gotta go and train to do that, darling.
That's it as well. And I think sometimes it's good, because then people go, they do 8 shows a week and then they go, oh my gosh, this is horrendous. As in, this is really like taxing on my voice, on my body. Whoa. Those people that do this a lot. So it kind of maybe gives them a new respect for theatre performers.
Listen, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not against it. Like, it wouldn't put me off going to see anything now. If there was like a name in it, like I am
unless
kicking
it's somebody
myself
I don't like.
That I never saw Nicole Scherzinger in Sunset Boulevard.
But you did see her in the big night of the musicals come on and speak about it
and then walk off again, I know. We'll just have to go to Broadway.
We'll do it.
Aaron, can we go to Broadway?
Today?
At some point soon.
I mean, yeah.
Great.
I was just thinking there, it must be mutually beneficial for both the pop star and the theatre to do that. You know, it rejuvenates their career, gets them in the media again, regardless if they're terrible.
Yeah.
You know? So, because we're talking about it, I would never have known Boy George was doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, nor would I probably have cared, but now we're talking about it, and I want to go online and look it up. I want to see what it is. So it's good for the theatre. It's good for them. It's not a long-term career option for George, but it gets them back out there, and it might start giving them touring opportunities.
Yeah, it's better than
they become relevant again, don't they?
Yeah.
Whereas they've maybe fallen off that kind of.
And well, speaking of like that, do you see who's going to be playing the Pharaoh for like 6 weeks in Edinburgh?
No,
Johnny Osmond.
I won't be going to that. You're on your own there, love. That's as bad as Jason Donovan playing the Pharaoh.
But I love it. I love because obviously Jason came back to do that, and then Donnie.
Yeah,
I do love Donnie.
I'm all right, thanks.
I love the way you talk about Donny Osmond like you know him.
I do know
like
him.
he's a family friend. I love Donny.
Everybody knows
Donnie.
Donnie, like.
But yeah, so he's
So that's part of the UK tour, is it?
Yeah.
He's just doing that. Is it just that
Edinburgh,
venue?
yeah.
Oh, okay, very good.
Pretty sure it's Edinburgh. Yeah.
Somebody who was able to do 8 shows a week though, did it very successfully was Cheetah Rivera.
Oh.
And I think we should take a wee moment just to remember
How
the
fabulous.
Broadway legend that's no longer with us. Like that's some career musical theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, but only, do you not think like recently she only really got the respect that she deserved?
No, I know. I think at the time, like
She was respected.
You don't get the name that she got.
Yeah, okay. I just feel like she never really was praised enough. I felt like she had so much talent that really it was only in recent years where people were going, oh gosh,
But do you not think it be our generation and when we were really getting to know musical theatre, she was absent because she had already had so many hits? Because I thought it was quite interesting when she did pass. I was like going, you know who she is and you know what she did and you know she was really successful at it, but you never experienced any of it. You didn't see it.
Yeah.
She wasn't talking about being present. Like she wasn't about when we were growing up because she had already had her massive hits. But then in the last couple of years, you started to see her again. Like she was...
Yeah.
She was coming, she was appearing in this performance or that performance, you know what I mean? Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
And then have we mentioned about David Badella going back into Anne Juliet?
Yes,
Did we mention that already?
Yeah.
There's so much of me wants to just book a wee flight to Broadway, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on everywhere. Like there really is. And then obviously, Why Am I So Single was announced, which is the new musical.
From the creators of Six. Toby and somebody. That's
Lucy Moss.
That's the one.
But I loved how they let it out. It was a big fancy musical, and then we got revealed the title. Love it. Yeah, there's loads. And do you know what? Probably by the time that this comes out, there'll be even more announcements.
No doubt. It seems to be on a daily basis at the moment. It's like,
very exciting.
Right, okay. Lots going on.
And loads more concerts.
Indeed.
It definitely is a thing. And what I heard today as well, interesting, I wanted to ask you about, Shrek the musical is touring and going to tour in America, and they have cut some songs.
What songs did they cut?
I can't remember. Okay, they cut some songs, but my question was, people are saying this is the effect that Six is having on musical theatre. Is it because Six is a shorter show? People are getting used to shorter shows, so big, long shows no longer have a place? I don't think that's right.
I think that's rubbish, because Six is one of a handful of short shows. Like Come From Away is shorter as well, but the premise of both those shows, it works for it to be a one act.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to... And also, I'm raging. I want an interval. I want my wee glass of vino.
Oh, you do like...
Oh my goodness, absolutely. That's part of going to the theatre. Going to the theatre, it's all about going for a wee meal beforehand, seeing the first half, actually getting a drink before you go in, putting in an interval order, coming out to getting your wee wine at the interval. Like that's a night at the theatre for me.
Because it's an experience. Don't Let Me Go was cut from the West End production, I know that.
That was the Donkey song, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Don't
but then I think there's a couple of other
Mm-hmm.
songs that are being cut. But sorry, I just read somewhere, that's the Six influence, but people don't have time to go and watch big long productions anymore. But I can't see that being true.
I don't think so. What's
I think
wrong
shorter
with
shows
people
are
who don't want long.
are
Now, don't get me
good.
wrong. I don't want to sit for 3 hours and watch something that's truly terrible. But if it's not truly terrible, you would notice how long the production is.
Yeah.
It's a funny old world, this showbiz, isn't it?
But I love it.
Yeah.
And also, did you see what happened at the weekend? I feel we need to talk about it, right? Only because we understand how much work goes into musical theatre. Did you see that on the West End on Friday night? I think it was Friday night. There was 5 swings and alternates on for the main cast
Of
out of the 6. 6 in 6 in 6 musical.
Oh my
And
goodness.
one girl, Lisa, she's Scottish, and she was on the UK tour. She's actually who my sister and my daughter went to see whenever she came to Belfast. She was working in the theatre cafe like an hour
Love it.
beforehand, and then had to come on and
Love
do
it. That's brilliant.
K Hard.
I wonder if they phoned... Oh, K Hard? I wonder if they phoned our Sarah.
I know.
She's just finished her contract.
She's just finished.
I wonder
so-
if she got her feet back on dry land yet.
No, I think she's literally...
She's literally just finished.
She's just finished.
She's still bobbing along, singing a song. At the bottom of the beautiful briny sea.
That's another musical?
I saw it when it went on UK tour, and I adored it. And I have not seen the film, don't judge me, but I loved it. I thought they did it really, really cleverly.
We were going to see it, and then the
Really
kids were
beautiful.
sick, and I hadn't quite bought tickets yet, and then so that was I was kind of glad.
Really beautifully done. I thought I absolutely adored it.
But then that's kind of disappeared. You haven't heard of it again?
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know if there's legs to it.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? I don't, and I also don't see. In my opinion, if it was good to go into theatre, it would need to be one of the smaller theatres.
Oh, okay.
It just had that nice feel about it. I think if you were to throw it into, one of those theatres where the Disneys tend to go, I think it would be lost. I don't think the scale of it is big enough.
So do you think it maybe needs to be reworked?
No, because I think if you made it, if you reworked it on a bigger scale, it would lose what was
magical
about it. I really enjoyed it. It was great.
That's good.
Yeah. On to this week then.
Here, do you think I could pass as an auditionee?
I was wondering about your outfit today. I was like, she's like very leotard.
Yeah.
There's a bit of leotard about you
There's
today.
a wee bit of a...
I mean, it's the fanciest leotard I've seen.
It's not even a leotard.
But it's an all-in-one. But what do you call an all-in-one?
An all-in-one.
An all-in-one.
Jumpsuit.
A jumpsuit. You see, I don't wear jumpsuits.
Do you not?
No, and I don't wear leotards anymore either.
You used to wear them quite a lot.
You're so lying. I have never worn, not in public.
This is one of my stories that I've been holding out because we have not done that musical yet.
What?
But yes, you have.
Are you about to say?
I'm
as
not
part
saying
of
it
a
now.
Question? A leotard? I'm going when.
But I am
worn
not
a
sharing it
leotard?
now because this is my big story for whenever we do a said musical.
Oh my god.
And I'm going to refer back to whenever we did this one and be like, this is the story I was talking about. So don't see you. Your memory's shot.
My memory is listen.
I don't wear leotards, at least not in public. Oh, that's a fib.
Listen, I get up now, go to the fridge, open the fridge door and forget what I came to the fridge for.
That's disturbing.
Or I'll have said something and 5 minutes later I'll say it again and go, have I said that? Have I told you that yet? Like, it's not good. Like, it's really bad.
That's worrying.
So my memory is atrocious.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely atrocious. I've worn a leotard.
Oh, yes.
Oh my, right, okay. I'm now really racking my brain to think did I look good in a leotard? No. Who does? Unless you're in this show.
Yeah, and even
That we're
then,
doing.
I'm always like, could you not just put on a wee skirt or a pair of shorts? But that's because I would feel uncomfortable standing in basically a swimsuit.
But when you're at an audition back in the day, that's what you had to wear. You had to wear your leotard.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing the whole rounds of auditions for stage schools, when I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? The girls, that was on the audition note for the girls. They had to wear a leotard and stuff.
Oh, no, I know, but it just makes me feel uncomfortable. I've done
I can
auditions in
understand.
leotards.
You have to be a very brave,
have to be very
confident person to be putting yourself out there in a leotard.
Yeah. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about a chorus line.
Wonderful.
One singular sensation.
And I assume there's going to be lots of singing.
Every little step she takes. Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't be me without a wee song or dance here and there. I'm a wee bit disappointed that when we came in today, like, Aaron wasn't practicing his audition dance. 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll maybe see his high kicks towards the end of that. But I've noticed that the camera's pointing towards us, not pointing towards him.
I don't know. Maybe he'll jump in with his top hat.
I mean, you've been warming up all morning, so yeah. I look forward to it. One of the most successful musicals of all time.
It is.
This portrait of chorus hopefuls in a dance edition revealed the earthy humanity behind the showbiz sparkle, and audiences were illuminated, thrilled, and really moved. It is a very moving piece as well.
Because of how it originated, of how it was created.
Stunning.
It's real. It is real life. So it's a 1975 musical, music by Marvin Hamlisch.
Well done. I hope you don't feel I patronise you when I go well done.
No.
Okay, that's okay.
No.
She needs that encouragement.
I know, I do. He is a EGOT winner, but actually he's a PGOT winner.
You should have waited till I'd finished drinking my coffee. What on earth is?
So we know what an EGOT is: an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Yes.
Well, a PGOT is I can't say this word. Pulitzer Prize.
Oh.
Pulitzer Prize, and only him and Richard Rodgers are the only two people who are PGOTs.
I was about to say, like, I've never heard of PGOT before in my life.
There's only two people who are PGOT. And he got it because of Chorus Line. Amazing, isn't it? So, Marvin, he also wrote songs for Liza.
With a Z.
Yeah. And
Minnelli, in case anyone's wondering who the Liza is we're talking about.
One of my favourite songs ever, Nobody Does It Better, from the James Bond song, or James Bond film, For the Spy Who Loved Me.
Does it better.
And he also wrote music for Behind the Candelabra, which is all about...
Don't Tell Me,
Okay.
Liberace.
Yes. Well done.
That's a good wee film.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, what's his name?
Matt Damon? No, the other one.
Both of them actually. Matt Damon and...
Michael Douglas
do give me the heebie-jeebies slightly in that film, just because of the prosthetics they had on their face. I'm like going... Ooh, okay. Yeah. No, Marvin Hamlisch was like an amazing, successful person.
No, so that's why I'm like, he definitely deserves a PGOT. Lyrics then are by Edward Cleven, book by James Kirkwood and Nicholas Dante.
Yeah,
Did I get that right?
And Nicholas Dante was a former dancer.
Yes, that's right.
That was brought in on the process by the amazing Michael Bennett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the show began its life as hours of transcripts of dancers sharing details about their personal and professional lives in post-rehearsal workshops. So Michael Bennett had this idea to kind of like get the bones of the show from his fellow dancers.
It was actually Michonne Peacock and Tony Stevens.
What?
Who had the idea.
What was that?
And they went and spoke to Michael Bennett about doing it. So he was the one that brought them together, but it was those two dancers.
He had the idea.
He had the idea.
Very good. So then they pulled together all of these like recordings and then put the show together. The substance of the show came from those, and they formed it around like an audition. So song, dance, and speech were fused with riveting, poignant effect. As Zach, who is the director, insists on hearing like the hopefuls, innermost fears and overriding dreams. It's really cool.
And that's how it started. So they were either all in shows or they were out of work, but they were all a collective of dancers who every single person that walked into that room in this little studio, they knew each other and they had sized each other up. They either liked them or didn't like each other, all of that stuff. And they sat in a semicircle and a lot of them said it was almost like group therapy.
Yeah.
And first of all, they did a dance. They were learned to dance. Why are we here? I mean, I've got a contract. And then they sat in this group circle and Michael just very calmly said, tell me about yourself. So asked one question and they went round the circle. And then the next question, tell me about your life. And then they went through. And I think they said they started at something ridiculous like 8 o'clock at night. And they were still going at midnight. Yeah. And they were finishing and people were going to their work. Yeah. By the time, so it was almost like all night. They just spoke
it's class,
and listened and, sympathised, and people had similar stories. And that's where in it, if there's a couple of people singing a song, it's because a couple of people had similar stories and upbringings, and there's so much to unpack. It's amazing.
8 of those original workshop dancers were then eventually cast in the show version of their own stories as well, which is kind of cool, including Donna McKegney, who played the lead role of Cassie. The actress dancer with whom the high-handed director Zach has a personal and professional history with. And so in the show, Cassie and Zach clash about the audition because Zach thinks she's too good to be in the chorus, but Cassie just wants to dance. And that kind of plot, that the fraught on-off romantic relationship actually mirrored the real-life situation between McKegney and Bennett.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool. And I was like, oh, right, okay, interesting.
Yeah. But I think he was the people that were there that evening loved Michael Bennett, and they had a lot of respect for him.
They wouldn't have opened up in the way they did if they didn't feel secure.
But I don't know if everybody agreed with his methods and his styles and how he got about work. He was a bit manipulative.
Oh, really?
But they never felt that.
Oh, wow.
So, it opened in Broadway in 1975 and was straight away a hit. Yeah. It received 12 Tony Tony nominations, and it won 9. Yeah. The original production ran for 6,137 performances, which was the longest until 1997 when Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats.
Yeah, so the longest running production in Broadway history. It still remains, I think, the 7th longest running Broadway show in history, which is very cool. Typical Andrew Lloyd Webber and his Cats.
I know. But Chorus Line actually saved Broadway because in 1974 only 6.6 million people were coming out to see shows, but by 1975 that had risen to 7.2. But people were coming specifically for a show rather than when you're in Broadway or you're in New York, I'll go and see a show. So it kind of changed how Broadway viewers, I suppose, or audience members were treating it. There is rumoured to be a Netflix series soon because we're in the year 2024. And obviously 2025 would make it 50 years. Yeah. So Ryan Murphy is rumoured to be doing a Netflix series.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's all over. Ryan Murphy will be all over that. That's
so I hope that is true and that isn't something that is just a rumour.
I would be all over that. 6,137 performances. That's a lot, isn't it? Surely the longest edition in the world, eh? Just see what it did there. Boom, boom.
Oh, I bet.
It also began a lengthy run in the West End in 1976 and was revived in Broadway in 2006 and then in the West End in 2013.
And this year?
And this year, that's right. It was, And I think this year's one that has just been, did it open in the Curve first? Leicestershire's Curve?
Not sure.
I think it might have. I think it went not original, sorry. I think it went new and different because a lot of the revivals that there have been both in Broadway and in West End, the West End one in 2013, they wanted as much as possible to use the original choreography and the way it was originally set. So in an attempt to restage the original production, they brought in one of the original cast members, Bjork Lee.
Yes.
Who I think played Connie in the original Broadway, and she restaged the choreography from the first original production, whereas I think the most recent one that you're talking about was completely new and different, and there was no link to...
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I watched... Aren't you impressed? I watched an interesting YouTube video from a recent US tour of it, where the girl who was playing Cassie, was talking about the rehearsal process that she had with Bjork Lee.
Was that Charlotte no, not her.
Not her. So this was Charlotte Dabrowski.
I can't say her last name because it's not how you think. She says it differently to how it's written down.
Dambrose or something. She was the 2006 Cassie. So this girl was saying that she started work with Bjork 2 weeks prior to any of the other cast members, and they would have just worked on that number on a day-to-day basis, and it would have started with nearly a two-hour warm-up. And then what Bjork did was she started is it Magic in the Mirror?
Yeah.
Or Music and the Mirror? Music and the Mirror number from the end.
Oh.
And worked her way forward. So it was, I couldn't really understand why she started at the end, but she started at the end and then worked their way towards the beginning, and they did it over and over and over again just to build stamina, so that by the end of it, Bjork was able to say to her, it's easy because now you only have to do it once a night. Yeah, and I thought, wow, that's a really interesting.
I love that though. I'm wondering, is it because at the end she's almost manically trying to? I just love dancing. Yeah. So is it that there's so much energy needs to be at the end that at the beginning you need to have that pulled back a little bit, so that rather than as you start something you're usually
to have the same amount of energy at the end as you had at the beginning. It's just meant
That's cool.
The original choreography number is insane. It's go, and it's just her. It's just Cassie on the stage with mirrors. Do you know what I mean? So, but I thought, oh wow. I mean, from her describing, she was very upbeat about it and was very passionate about it. But from her describing the process, I was like, I'm not so sure I would have wanted to have been involved in that rehearsal process. Yeah. The finale number 1 is certainly catchy, but Hamlish was concerned originally that the show didn't have a song that would have a life of its own.
What?
I know, you would have thought, having already written that number 1, which is class. No, he was concerned there wasn't that number that was going to stand out. So he then wrote the pop ballad "What I Did for Love," which became the show's radio hit.
Yeah.
I do love that song.
I know, but what
I did for love.
Which we'll probably talk about that a wee bit more. But so what I want to say is one of the documentaries I watched.
Aaron, have you got the check?
So remember I'd said that everybody loved Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
And he was able to get stuff out of them that maybe nobody else would have. By the way,
I hope you're not about to crap all over Michael Bennett, because I have him right up there as one of my heroes.
During their first break of the first workshop, the actors sold their stories to Bennett for $1 each so that no lawsuits would occur.
Oh, wow!
Because a lawyer did come to him and say, you have 20 people here.
Yeah.
they all have a right to this show.
Yeah.
This is going to be an absolute nightmare.
Okay.
So he just got them to sign something. Not all of them knew what they were signing.
No, you are crapping over Michael Bennett.
I'm not. Some of them were very happy to do it, you know, whenever they realised what it was. Now, since it became such a massive hit, the original 37 dancers were split into 3 groups and compensated according to their input. So if they were there for all 3 stages, such as like Kelly Bishop, who was there on the original night, part of the workshop, and actually, you know, originated a role and won a Tony for it, obviously got so much. But what wasn't quite put into this new contract was about any future productions. So that's why there's some future productions have changed it slightly, so then these guys don't actually get compensated for it.
Goodness, wow.
But I just think imagine selling your story for $1 and then it going on and making what it makes.
Yeah.
That is crazy. But they don't hold him with any like, oh my goodness, he stole money from me. It's not like that at all.
Yeah.
But he knew he needed to do something so he didn't have loads of lawsuits on his hands.
Oh, wow, sir.
And can we talk about Kelly Bishop for a little bit?
Yeah.
So Kelly Bishop, maybe sometimes known as Carol Bishop, she originated the role of Sheila, because that is her story. She is in Gilmore Girls and she's Emily Gilmore. And I love Gilmore Girls.
I was wondering why you wanted to speak about her, to be honest, but now it all makes sense. Gilmore.
She won
here.
Yeah, she won a Tony. She's
Tony.
amazing. But that line that Sheila says, like, my name is, and she gives her full name and she's from where she's from, and then she says, and I'm 30 and I'm going to be 30 real soon and I'm real glad. That was exactly what she said in the workshop.
Yeah, I love that.
And she was like, but that was just me. And that attitude, have you ever watched any clips of her doing it?
Sheila's class.
She's just fab, and totally deserved that Tony.
So Sheila is just her?
It's just her. Yeah, that is her
Sheila
story.
Is Kelly with just a different character name. Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, like right from the beginning, like Sheila. So the thing is, like, this show just has a white line across the stage and they all stand on the white line, hence chorus line. But right from the beginning, just the way the Sheila character like holds herself, she kind of like has her hands on her lower back and she's pushing her, you know, her chest out and she's standing up like and she's also taller than most of the other one. Like, she immediately catches your eye. Yeah. Every single time.
No, she's
so cool.
She's fab. And that role of we'll go into it a wee bit more, but just about how she presents herself, as you've said, is it's interesting for dancers who don't usually present themselves so wonderful, because they're usually in the background of a chorus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair enough. On the night that A Chorus Line became the longest running show on Broadway, Bennett called in hundreds of current and previous cast members. So the final number we've talked about, 1, which ends with like massive kick lines. So hence I was expecting to come in tonight and see Aaron doing his kick line in the living room. There's still time, folks.
There is.
He needs to go and get his
sparkles
gold leotard on. Have you got it up there with your top hat
and tails?
It's in the wash.
Oh, Aaron. But that final kick line, that final chorus line, was made up of 338 performers, and they all did that, you know, bum ba ba dum ba da bum, and they're all kicking their legs above their head. I used to be able to do it, but not so much now. Class, like, imagine seeing that.
That must
338.
Wow.
People in a kick line. Wow. Row after row after row after row. How did they all fit? Love the catchy tunes and insightful discussions on musical lyrical lingo? Why would you not? Now you can reap your fandom. Ooh, we've got fans. And show off your love of all things musical theatre with our exclusive merchandise. Ooh.
From comfy tees,
t-shirts,
mugs to stylish tote bags, we have something for every fan. Our designs are inspired by the show's iconic themes.
Because we are so iconic.
And featured playful quotes, alpha, and graphics that will have you humming along.
I will never work again.
Wherever you go.
So head over to our merch store now and start shopping. Spend your money, people. And don't forget to share your pics on our social media using hashtag podcast musical lyrical lingo merch. We love to see our fans rocking our gear.
Yes, we do. Happy shopping. I know, that's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy. Also, another thing I knew I was going to say about Kelly, she was obviously part of the workshop, and then she got a contract doing something that she really didn't want to do. Michael wanted her back for Broadway, and he bought her out of her contract.
Nice.
Just to have her back.
Oh,
so I think
that's
there was a lot of
nice.
love for Michael Bennett with these people who had...
Yeah.
I think it was tough being a dancer. You have to... These guys weren't actors, they were dancers.
Yeah.
But they were wanting to maybe go into more roles or acting or TV or film or whatever it was. But these guys are dancers, not all-rounders.
But the biz is tough as well, and I think this show shows it. So, like, for any aspiring musical theatre performer out there who's wanting to do this, like, for goodness sake, do yourself a favour and make sure you've seen Chorus Line first. Like, now, there's elements of it that are very brutal.
Yeah.
And I think industry-wise, schools and colleges and training just cannot get away with treating people like that anymore. But you're kind of going, wow.
Yeah.
In previews, the team sensed that the audiences were getting so involved with the Cassie character that in the original, she initially failed to get the gig, failed to get the job.
Okay.
She wasn't one of the ones on the chorus line that got cast. And the audiences were really behind Cassie so much that they then changed
that she does.
so that she was one of the chosen. Which I thought was quite interesting, listening to your audiences, eh?
Yeah,
I wonder how many times that's happened in history, you know, in the previews. They've gone by audience reaction and gone, actually, we need to change this. This is wrong. Like, what we've done isn't.
The only thing I can think of recently that worked was with Beetlejuice, where it was too crude.
That's right, yeah. I remember talking about that now.
So that's the only thing.
Yeah. It just shows how important previews are.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about musical lyrical lingos?
Well, the first thing I kind of learned from it when I saw it was that you don't actually need a set
Yes.
to produce a hit.
No.
You don't need, like,
Flashy costumes.
although when they do the one number and they come out in their gold, I think that's maybe why that's also so...
Yeah.
It's such a wow moment, because up until then, they're basically dressed in their rehearsal leotards, like you would be for a rehearsal or for an audition. Yeah, so like it was one set, no stars, no extravagant set, and basically an empty stage of a Broadway theatre. That's a black box with a white line drawn at the very front of the stage. When Cassie does her number, mirrors fly in just so that you can see her in the mirrors. But other than that, there is no other set.
Which also shows how the actors, the dancers, were so good at getting their points across, their stories across, because they're real stories.
Yeah.
Now, I know whenever you go and see a performance of Chorus Line now, it's not the original actors, but their stories were so real and people can empathise with them, that you acting out, whether it's at the ballet or nothing or sing or whatever, you are getting that passion from how they're acting it, and because there's nothing flashy going on,
How
there's
exposed
nothing
they
distracting.
are.
Exposed, that's the word.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just totally exposed. Like, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Love it. What about you?
In montage, Hello 12.
Hello, 12.
Hello 13. In Love. I'm in Love.
Hello, love.
Hello Love. Which isn't always included. Well, it certainly wasn't included in the film. Sometimes people cut it out.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones that you get the original process of the interviews or the discussions because it's such a mix match of different characters throwing their stories out there, and like we sound bites of, this person's story and then that person's experience, and like it's one of my favourite parts of the soundtrack because it's just it's interesting, it's funny, and it's loads of different stories
Yeah.
all rammed into like, is it like a 10-minute number almost? When you almost something like that,
yeah.
or there's a few montages, isn't there? So I suppose when you glue them all together, it's about 10 minutes. Yeah.
They mention Robert Goulet, Goulet, and he was an American/French Canadian singer.
Yeah.
He starred as Lancelot in Camelot, opposite Richard Burton. And Julie Andrews.
Yeah, and in that same bit, they mentioned Steve McQueen. So the line goes, "My God, that's Steve McQueen, real sexy. Bob Goulet out, Steve McQueen in." So
Yes.
they're like kicking Goulet out because Steve McQueen, the American actor from Great Escape, has now become the new heartthrob or man of the moment.
And he's actually in an episode of season 2 of Boy Meets World. I love Boy Meets World.
Goulet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Boy Meets World, and he sings the national anthem. But he like appears in loads of things. Like I think he's done like WWE. He's done almost everything where he just shows up. And I think that was this, your talent. You'd be able to shoehorn yourself into loads of different things.
Yeah,
which I kind of was pulling from that. So I learned more about him.
Also in montage, that another name is checked off, Troy Donahue.
Yeah.
If Troy Donahue could be a movie star, then I could be a movie star. And he is also mentioned in another musical that we've talked about on the podcast.
Yeah, Grease.
Yeah, that's right. He's in Look at Me, I'm Sandra Day.
Yeah.
Another name check from the character Connie is I was never gonna be a Maria Tallchief. I need to listen to the soundtrack again. Tallclief. And then she sings I was just a peanut and point because she's tiny.
Yeah.
But Maria that she's talking about was an American ballerina considered. It's really annoying me that I can't actually pronounce her name now. I'm turning to you. Because she was considered America's first major prima ballerina.
Oh, okay.
I was never gonna be Maria Tallchief. That's so annoying.
I'll go with Tallchief.
I'm so annoyed. I'm so upset with myself.
In the song Nothing, which reminds me of you in drama class.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my... I've written that.
Yes!
I'm going, I am Diane.
Yeah. I was like, this is definitely Timothy in drama class, where I'm like, how do you not feel? How do you feel nothing?
Why can you not be that? Of improvised drama classes is what I've written in my notes.
How can you not feel being that melted ice cream? Like, why? What is wrong with you?
So in that number, anyone who hasn't listened to it, give it a listen. It's very funny. She's singing about her drama teacher who's asking her to improvise all these ridiculous things, and she doesn't feel anything, like she can't feel anything, and then her drama teacher doesn't like her,
Yeah, he says like
you are rubbish, you are never going to.
Feeling nothing can get a girl transferred.
Yeah, feeling nothing can
class.
get a yeah, exactly. Did you learn anything more from that number?
Yeah, just that, like, where she goes, she praises Santa Maria. So just that Santa Maria is Spanish, which is a reference to the Virgin Mary. But Spanish, Italian and Portuguese is where you say Santa Maria rather than just Mary. I just learned that was the different languages that say Santa Maria.
And she mentions, she goes, hey, it's only the first week, maybe it's genetic. They don't have bobsleds in San Juan.
Yes.
And I didn't realise that was the capital of Puerto Rico. So I learnt a bit of geography. Interestingly, about that number, obviously she's singing about her experiences with her drama teacher, Mr. Karp. There is reply to nothing.
Is there?
Yeah. So do you remember that song? It's not from anything, but it's often performed by musical theatre performers. Taylor the latte boy.
Oh, the latte boy, yeah.
Bring me down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then there was somebody wrote the response from the barista.
Yes.
Taylor. So this is kind of the same thing. So if you want to laugh, listen to the song Something. It's from Upstairs at O'Neill's. So if you just type that into a search engine, it was a satirical cabaret. but it's the same story, but from Mr. Carp's point of view.
Love
and
it.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'm
Absolutely
listening to
hilarious. You will love it. Like,
Okay.
when I came across it, I went, Lauren is going to, like, love
Okay.
this.
Love. Yeah. No, I love it. She goes, and I felt nothing. And then it ends, and you're like,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, listen
Okay.
to that rebut from him.
Yeah.
About the same drama class. At the ballet, did you learn anything about at the ballet?
No.
So at the ballet is 3 of the hopeful auditionees singing about their experiences, and it's really heartfelt because one is she sings about how her family situation, how and how her dad isn't faithful to her mum and she never sees him, but then they'll go to the ballet and that's the one time that she's like, that one of them sings up the steep and very narrow stairways to the voice like a metronome.
Yes.
And I thought that was really interesting because we know a metronome is a device used by musicians to mark the time at a selected rate by giving a regular tick. However, it's in the lyrics because dance teachers usually teach or speak in an extremely regular rhythm. So if you think about the counting out of beats, 5, 6, 7, and a 1, 2, 3, and I thought that's such a clever wee lyric because that's exactly what choreographers or dance teachers do to keep their students moving at an accurate beat. I just thought very clever lyrics, like
and
really clever.
I think that the description of that, like up a very tiny narrow staircase, like you can see that. And maybe it's because we came from dance classes and you sometimes were dancing in the same spot, or you were doing something extra and you were going to a new place and it wasn't exciting. You were climbing up the stairs to this new experience, and then whenever you got there you almost felt like you could breathe because you were home.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, love it.
Anything else you learned?
Just in the song Dance 10 Looks 3.
Dance 10 Looks 3, that's what it's called now.
That's what it's called now. So it is called Tits and Ass. Yep, so the fancy pair.
Tighten up my derriere. Do the nose a bit. All that goes with it.
That's
or something
it.
like that.
Yep.
It's a great song.
So it wasn't called Dance 10 Looks 3. It was called Tits and Ass. But then it wasn't getting a big enough laugh.
Yeah.
Because people were reading it in the programme. So
They had it. They knew too much too soon,
exactly.
didn't they?
Yeah. So
again, probably another clever wee change that they tweaked after the previews.
Yeah.
I love all that. I love like how creative teams use those previews for what they're meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's still in production. Yeah, like,
And it is sad that was a contributing factor to auditions, like that looks were still such a big deal. I think that's one thing that the industry is getting much better at now. Like when you go and see shows and you see casting, shows are not cast in the same way that they would have been cast in previous years, and you see particular parts that were always played by the same kind of look that no longer can you kind of almost second guess what the character's going to look like.
Yeah, but I think it's also the chorus no longer looks. It used to be that the chorus looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
But now I think they changed the main characters more. I think now they're starting to change the chorus. Could be anybody. Yeah. Which I like.
Absolutely, 100%.
I like that she sings national rather than national. She gets a national tour because of her new look. It's like national. I just like that way. National.
Yeah. The dialect. Tyrol. Yeah. One.
Yes.
Do you have much from one?
Yeah, I do actually.
We've got the same one. Shall we sing after 3?
Well, I'm not singing it.
She's commonly rare, very unique, peripatetic, poetic and chic. Chic. Peripatetic.
Is relating to walking or moving or travelling.
Yeah. Did not know that.
No, but it's so clever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Aaron's looking at us like we're thick.
Is that obvious?
We're not all as clever as you, alright?
Did you know that?
Yeah.
But he didn't go to the same school as us.
Okay. But relating.
Just saying, but it's true, isn't it?
I don't
But
think my skull was much better. To be
but it works because of that song where they're dancing and moving forward and travelling. Okay, he knew it. All right.
He just...
I didn't mean to give you a
But it's okay, sitting there with a wee notebook, taking notes. Are those notes on us? Are you going to give us, like, feedback?
Yep.
I also got the word extolling.
He's taking his role very seriously.
I know, he really is.
Yes, I got that too. All of her qualities, I love that word because of how they sing it.
Yeah.
All of their qualities, extolling.
To praise something or one very much.
Yeah, praise enthusiastically.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what Aaron needs to be doing.
Absolutely. Not rolling his eyes when we don't
Praising
know
us
a word.
enthusiastically.
If we didn't
not
know these
taking
words,
notes.
this podcast
Nobody
wouldn't
would
exist.
want to listen to us.
You're so rude.
I'm a wee bit hurt.
I know.
Deep down inside.
Did you have anything else in one?
One, the vocabulary is mental in that number. So you've got jauntily sauntering, ambly shambler. I think that's just as how you move, there's lots of words in one phrase there.
Also, I never sang the right words.
Yeah, well, who would?
I think I was like...
I just feel we can't really talk about anymore because Aaron's just going to judge us. She's the quintessence of making the grade. Quintessence
Yeah.
is a perfect example.
I know.
We are the perfect example.
We are, despite
Aaron
what
likes
Aaron
to think
says.
I know where his notebook, but sure.
In tap,
He can't do a step ball change, can he? Just saying.
in the number tap, they mentioned...
Maybe he can. How long you got?
Is that quintessential, that word?
Quintessential for making the grade.
I feel we just had an argument there and you sang at me.
I did.
So in tap, they mentioned George Hamilton. You know, they mentioned a couple of people, but mentioned George Hamilton. He was
In
an
tap?
Yeah, is an actor in 80s, 90s and 2000s. He's somebody that once you see a picture of him, you would recognise him. But he also played Billy Flynn in Chicago for a number of years.
But is tap a number? What number are you talking about? Tap. Is that I can do that?
Yeah, maybe that's
Where
it.
he taps?
Yeah. Why have I just written tap?
I don't know. I was like, I didn't know if it was like a fact about tap dancing or something.
No.
Tap.
Anyway, could be for a completely different musical. Never mind. We mentioned...
I'll give off to you anyway. I'll be in the notes.
We mentioned What I Did for Love. And
What I Did for Love.
I like to think that that's also the original people singing that about signing off their stories for $1. They did it all for love.
Oh God, you're so deep.
They did it all because they love dancing.
Or maybe it's just a song that Marvin Hamlish wrote because the show didn't have
it's not.
the one number that he felt.
It's not. They all love dancing because that's what Kelly Bishop had a real problem with the film. And the film stars like Michael
Film is crap.
They're right. So, and also, no, I like Let Me Dance for You because it gets stuck in my head. But they replace Music in the Mirror with Let Me Dance with You. No. Even though there's like similar bars of music.
It is, yeah. They've changed the name and a bit of the, but it's still kind of.
Still do sing that. I sing that quite a bit actually, Darren. Let me dance for you, and he goes, please don't. So anyway, Kelly Bishop was unimpressed with the film, saying that Richard Attenborough, who was the director, was an idiot.
Yeah.
As he described the film as dancers looking for a break. And she says, in fact, it is dancers looking for their last show.
Yeah.
That is why there is so much heart in it.
Yeah.
It is them, give me another chance to still continue to do what I love to do.
But that is a swan song, yeah. Kind of, but also like the business is like, for anybody in the business, their job could be their last job if they don't book another job. So, like every audition has that. I don't want to say desperation because I don't mean that performers are desperate, but there is an element of, but I do need to find to find my next paycheck. Like I have to pay my rent, so there is that, and they'll like if you're in that industry. Like, it has to be all-encompassing because it is what... Like, you're only doing what you're doing for the love of it. Do you know what I mean? If you're doing it to make lots of money, and to live really comfortably, you're in the wrong.
Absolutely wrong industry.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love that song because it sums up that,
Yeah.
you know, career
Yeah.
perfectly. You do it for the love of it.
Which is what I
What
was
I
saying.
did. No, I know. I'm agreeing
Yes,
with
okay.
you.
That's why you weren't agreeing with me at the beginning.
No, I was. I was just being
right, okay.
hilarious at
Okay.
the whole Marvin Hamlish thing. I was
right,
just
okay.
going, haha, but Marvin Hamlish wrote it. It wasn't in it originally. But it makes sense that is the number that you do remember.
Yeah,
like, you
I
do
know.
remember it because it is the one that has the most heart.
Yeah.
It's the one that made me well up, to be quite honest with you.
There is something magical about it, isn't there?
Oh, it's a stunning show.
It really is.
But I think for us, because dance was such a big part of our life growing up, and we did an awful lot for the love of dance.
Yes, and also every single person that is involved, whether it's Amdram, your local like Saturday Stage Girl, West End, Broadway, church performance, whatever it is, whenever you do an audition and you lay yourself out,
Yeah.
it is oh my goodness, there's so much
Vulnerability. Yeah.
So you empathize with the characters so quickly, so you're there and you understand. Oh my goodness, they're asking me to take my hair down. They're asking me to like explain more about this. Oh, how do I do that?
And you second guess everything. Like, could you do that again? But this, you're kind of going, why are they asking me to do it again? What did I do wrong the last time? Like, I take my hat off to anybody who does it because I'm certainly not a strong enough person to do it. But I think even when I hear what I did for love, just on the cast recording, it does evoke a reaction in me because it's such a big part of my life. It was such a big part of your life. And I love that. I think it is before What I Did for Love. Zach, the director, asks Cassie, you know, if the day was the last day you could dance, how would you feel? And her first line is, kiss today, goodbye.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then it becomes, and she starts it on her own, or somebody, is it her? I think it is Cassie, it starts it on her own, and then they all join on, and then it's a big, massive sound, and they're just all like, guldering it out, and you're like,
And I think as well, because we've witnessed where, I've forgotten the character's name, where he falls and hurts his
We're going
knee.
to talk about Paul in a minute, aren't we?
Yeah, and he, then it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Everything he's worked for is over. And actually Bennett did that during their workshop.
Did he?
He fell, hurt his knee, see who would come over and help him, see what the natural reactions were, and then got up and said, I'm not joking.
Oh.
No.
Might have to go back and rethink my feelings towards Mr. Bennett.
I know I have. Is he a genius with a question mark?
Yeah, I think he is.
I think he is.
I think he is too. And you know what? There's many a genius who behave in the same, you know, unethical ways, maybe.
Yeah. Also, the 1970s was a very different time.
Yeah,
Even
true.
they say about what was happening that night, there was a lot of drink and there was a lot of stuff going on that maybe wouldn't have been acceptable now. So
yeah,
I
Paul
think
is
it's
a
always
great
important.
character that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And I do remember, you know, I obviously knew the show, and then I came across the docu-film, which is called Every Little Step. So you have seen it, have
Yes.
you? Yeah. And it follows the casting process for the Broadway revival in 2006. And you see into the audition room
Yeah.
for the casting of the show, which it just like, that's my thing. I love all that. And it shows Paul's monologue, and Paul's monologue in the show, in my opinion, is the best,
Spotlight. Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Because there is quite a few in between the songs and the dancing. There are, there's certain characters that are pulled out and you get to know a wee bit more about them.
Yeah.
And Paul's one of those characters, but his story, I don't know, it just resonated. Like there was just something about it, but the emotion that boy, why did I not write his name down? That's ridiculous. Put across. So then when he walked out of the room, Bob Avian, who was the director, and then everybody else that was at that table, they were all in floods of tears because they were just so moved by this edition.
And it was almost like book it now.
Wow. Well, they did, didn't they? But I think I watched that video about 15 times because it was, even though it was an edition, it was an absolute masterclass. Like the raw emotion.
That's it. It didn't feel like an edition for a part. It felt like that was his story.
Paul? Yeah. I have to get the name of that guy up. If Aaron wasn't taking his notes, he would have been able to do it for us.
See if you go onto that red thing.
I'm only joking, Aaron. You've just been very rude.
Yeah.
Every little step.
Every little step. And then
John something.
Is it John
Either something John or John someone. Jon, I'm almost sure of it. He is that dude.
Yeah, him there. We're just looking at the video. But do go as soon as you go type it into Jason Tam.
Jason Tam, not John at all. Yeah. Jay. John. So Jason Tam, go and watch his edition. I also went down a rabbit hole of Michael Bennett interviews.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was so interesting. Like it was just very interesting.
There's so much out there for people to watch and take inspiration from, and I think that's why I was saying there's a lot to unpack in this. We probably have not covered half of it, and there'll probably be real avid fans but you didn't mention this, but I think it's important for you to go and experience Chorus Line yourself.
Yeah, have you experienced it? In the theatre?
I think I have, but I couldn't tell you what production it was.
Okay, I saw the West End revival in 2013 in the London Palladium. No. And it was a wow. And Scarlett Strallen, again, we've mentioned her, she was Cassie. She was stunning, yeah. And I had a really good seat. Front row of the
You're
Grand
good at
Circle.
these good seats.
And it was back in the day where I just took myself off to London and didn't book anything, but just went to the box office and got wee single tickets for like 25 quid, and I was like living the dream. You wouldn't get a theatre ticket for that now, would you?
No, definitely
We've already had that rant. We're not going back there.
What standing nose have you got?
There's too many. What I Did for Love, Music in the Mirror, and the opening dance combo. Which I
haven't really spoke about much, but yeah.
What a way to start the show.
Yeah.
And the one finale, I can't separate those four. I can't say which one really stands out. They're all real highlights. Yeah,
I love one too, but I think I love one as well because obviously you spend an hour and something listening to these 17 dancers, and then 8 are chosen. But then the one number, you lose them. Yeah. You lose them, and you can't differentiate between this dancer and this dancer and this dancer, but you're like, but I just spent so long invested in their story. Yeah. And I think it, again, just gives you a real appreciation for chorus and background dancers and background singers and swings and alternate. I can't say that word either. I can't say any words. Anyway, so I love one. But I also, one of my favourite songs is Sing. I love Sing because I feel like it's me. Other people sing for me. I
bloody knew when you were going to say that.
Why?
You're so hard on yourself. So Sing, for anybody who doesn't know, it's one of the girls that's on the chorus line that cannot sing. Yeah. And she tries to, and it's hilarious because she can't sing. That's not you. Well, wise up.
I feel like that's what you do in this podcast. And you go, that's flat, so then you sing.
Oh, nice. Right, okay. Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I there's something about that. I think it's about somebody helping somebody else out. I like it. Yeah. But one is definitely my standing note.
And I totally got confused when you had said about the current revival, because there was a revival of it, within the last year, I think, and I think it was in the Leicester Curve, but it is back in. It's going into Sadler Wells in London from, when's it coming in? From performance dates 31st of July to the 25th of August.
And
So go and see, because I'm actually on the website and it says tickets from £19. I don't know if I believe that, but go on and have a look. It's one to go and see if you haven't seen it before.
I have a feeling that it's a test and you'll see it in Broadway in 2025 for the 50th.
Or it'll go into London, like into the West End for a stint as well. That's I think Singing in the Rain did a Sadler's Wells run for before it then ended up in the Palace that time.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think there is. Yeah, because the chorus line I was talking about, I think it had a regional kind. It was like one of the regional theatres. I think the time there is time for it to spend a bit of time in the West End at the moment.
Mm-hmm. I just think it would make sense.
Yeah,
with the timing,
it's fabulous.
It's great. Please go. Like if you can only watch the film, watch the film. But if there's plenty of stuff on TikTok and YouTube and other social media platforms about not only the original but any of those revivals. Go watch it. Listen to the soundtrack, please, and immerse yourself in Chorus Line.
It's one singular sensation,
just like us.
Every little step we take. Although, we might be back next week, folks. You will just have to wait and see whether Aaron renews her contract or not, to be honest.
There's an awful lot of notes being taken here.
I know, it's putting me off a wee bit.
And you know those wee eye looks that he's gives us as well?
He's gone, he didn't know the name of that guy who played Paul.
I know.
Just take a wee note of that.
Yep. Do better research. That's who's going to come out.
Listen, guys, this is your chorus line right now. You got to impress me.
Oh.
You better hope you make it.
Oh my goodness.
That's what we're dealing with here. He thinks he's Zach sitting across the table there.
He thinks he's got all the power. And at first he has a little bit of power, so maybe we should stop talking.
Well, maybe see you next week. Until then, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Bye.
Bye.